And that has to do with even talking to some of these persons that are involved in this process of, repolluting artisanal refining. We could do that as civil society. We could partner strongly with the Hyprep, and these things will work out. But one thing we want to say is the fact that we have to show far more commitment to the process. We have to show far more commitment to the process. We went to the air. I am happy today, and I'm sure the civil society people will be happy by the statement of the minister. We said that all the things that, if I understood him clearly, that all the things that were supposed to have been done before now have been done, and that we are here to take off in earnest. That gives me more hope. However, we will drop our campaigns on asking that we should move, the Hyprep from Ministry of Environment to the Petroleum Ministry for the fact that you made that statement. But we'll be watching and want to see you acting seriously in line with our kind of frame. Thank you very much.
Please, for others that we want to talk after now, you put your eye on the board there. There are key points that we want to, be speaking on, and that we act as a guide as we continue to intervene. So for now, let me hand over the microphone to the Honorable Minister.
I now understand why my boss is always looking around with red eyes, because I've just been representing him for just a few hours, and already my colleague in civil society is beginning to make me feel very scared. But in any case, if the character of civil society changes to that of docility, then a nation is doomed. So that is the issue there, to raise the red flags. So I will start with what you're talking about. I agree with you very wholeheartedly that the character and content of sensitization should change. In the light of that, why I said we're ready to move is the fact that the approval of the Federal Executive Council for the communications consultant, that communication consultant should start working in January. Part of the things that they have to do is not just to start going and hiring media there and the rest of them, is to sit with Hyprep and key stakeholders and agree as to the communications framework. Because as it is right now, there is no document that says that there is a framework for communication. That also applies to the monitoring and evaluation consultant. They sit with key stakeholders, including civil society, and agree as to the framework. When people are talking about key performance indicators and the rest of them, like last night, I had a good laugh. The fact is that when you're doing monitoring and evaluation, the indicators themselves have to be negotiated. What is it that you want to measure? So that you don't have what my brother knows as, a whole collection of useless information that is not going to enhance performance. So getting in, they will sit with them and develop a monitoring and evaluation framework that is applicable to this particular project together. And I believe that, and I sincerely believe that when people are talking about, we have a monitoring and evaluation department. When Marvin says it, sometimes I laugh. You cannot monitor yourself. The tendency is that when you are to monitor yourself, you will always, give yourself a pass mark. But I believe the framework that should come without second guessing them will involve collection of people that are not government, and also involve civil society in ensuring that you do that. We applied that very, very successfully during the MDG's period, because when a technical consultant tells you that, okay, the building has been erected, the clinic is there, all the equipment, they meet specification and the rest of them, the likes of Celestine and yourself will now say, yes, it is true, but the building is 30 kilometers from where it will be useful to anybody, and which means you will not get the health outcomes that you expect because there is no access. So That, I think, is by way of assuring you. And with regards to moving Hyprep to the petroleum, for the petroleum ministry, it came from there. Yeah. So you cannot ask the polluter to now be able to now lead a remediation and restoration process. What people have been very, very polite about is that when you say Shell Petroleum Development Company, deconstruct who constitute Shell Petroleum Development Company, and you see as a joint partner with NNPC, which is also government. So it is important to strengthen the process and ensure that all environmental laws that have already been broken, you don't go back to the same thing. So we need civil society to support the process, not by singing the praises of the process. Whenever people are going wrong, it is your job to notify because you're voices of the people. And what people don't talk about is that our civil society, let's talk frankly, civil society, we have capacity issues in civil society. So how do we strategize around strengthening the capacity of civil society to be able to deliver on development? There are civil society organizations that actually have refused to evolve into development from fighting the military. The military left in 1999, and it appears that, you see, the kind of environment has changed, and some have not. So how do you now retool or rekit civil society to enable them continue to perform the type of functions that they are performing? And you do that right now because you have government and civil society. Before, it is us and them. But right now, civil society and government are partners. So since we are partners, how do we support each other to be able to ensure that we deliver on what we're supposed to deliver? And I think this is something to really seriously think about. Before, if you see any civil society, if Celestine or you come into any government function, the next thing is they call you Gongo, government-owned NGO. So, but right now, you come in and you go in and you're strategic partners to government. So I think that kind of relationship should continue to be maintained and sustained. With regards to money that are needed to be available to Hyprep and so on, yes, there are a number of things that it will be difficult to say in here because when you say them, it will appear as if some people did not play their role properly. But like I said, what is important is that the structures are now in place. And there's going to be a retreat for the whole of Hyprep with regards to ensuring that, one, you build a team that is cohesive inside Hyprep. Two, you address issues of public financial management and public procurement. How do you have the capacity to be able to ensure that you go through your processes quickly and access your money? Then you now go through the processes. The fact is that when the project coordination office was sent, the deployment of people with such mandates and expertise and the rest of them, I think, took a bit of time. Because what the minister was interested in is actually identifying the key personnel from the bureaucracy that will be deployed that are very, very good and conversant with these particular processes. I can tell you that if today you give me, you give the minister a work plan, you've gone through a procurement process, that your tenders board, which is internal to Hyprep, is there, you submit and say, we have gone through this particular process and there's no objection of PPP. To be honest with you, it doesn't take 10 seconds for the Honorable Minister of State to put his hand on paper, to just say, approved, please proceed. Because it is, when this thing fails, the minister is the lead. Every other person, yes, we will have that, but the most important thing, Mr. President will say, Honorable Minister of State Environment, what happened? And that will be the thing. So monies for Hyprep believe me, they have unfettered access